Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Real Table Talk. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us every week at 5 o'clock. We really appreciate it. So my name is Leslie O'Connor, and I am a motivational speaker, a presenter, a journalist, and I'm here with the Real Table Talk. Yay! And we have got a special guest, but before we get to our special guest today, let's hear from the Real Table Talk. So first of all, Karen, introduce yourself, please.
Hi everybody, I am Karen Cruz and I am a life coach, and I'm the director and founder of Flourished Minds, which is a coaching company which helps children to flourish.
Excellent. And over to you, Marcia.
I am Marcia Hilton and I am the founder and director of Life Inspired Wellness, and I work with women to help them break free from difficult relationships.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Marcia. That's a real introduction there. Wow. I really like that. And I know like this week you've been really super busy with all your beautiful clients. Well, you as well, Karen. What have you both been up to?
Well, I was supposed to have taken the week off because it was half term, but that didn't really happen because I've just spent the week planning for this week. And plus I've got some private clients and I'd like to spend the time just trying to sort my diary out. So like tonight, Sunday nights, I tend to use Sundays to plan my week. So I get up tomorrow morning, rather, you know, when you get up and you're like, oh, what should I do and where's this? I get up on a Monday morning, I'm like, bam, 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 because it's all been organised from the night before. So yeah, it's been a fairly busy week for me, but good.
Well done. That's fantastic. That's brilliant.
You can have that tip for nothing.
That's brilliant. Let's say welcome to Robert. Robert, welcome to the Real Table Talk, and thank you so much for joining us today on this platform. And I am going to be introducing you in a few minutes. But before I introduce you, Robert, what have you been up to this week? How's your week been for you?
It's been crazy, busy. Clients as usual. I have clients throughout the week and the weekends, but I have a half-day cut-off on the weekends and under orders from my good lady. And so I've been busy all week with clients. I'm also working on a new program that's going to help people overcome, you know, their limiting beliefs and mindset blocks and the fears that are holding them back in life and doing things. So I'm working at, that's just about finished. That's going to come out. It's only a small program, nice, easy, attainable one for people. And then I'm currently working on a big, really all-inclusive program that's going to be hopefully ready in about a month and a half's time. So it's been a crazy busy week, lots going on, lots happening. So it's all good. It's all good in the lockdown world.
Yes, yeah, that's brilliant. And yourself, Marcia, what have you been up to?
Been busy as well. I actually did a survey, which was really, really interesting. And I've got quite a bit of response from that, and that actually will inform my program that I'm developing at the moment as well. So thank you to everybody that actually did complete the survey. It was only a short one, but I got some really good feedback from that. So thank you to everyone that did. Yeah.
No, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Well, thank you for that, guys, for sharing. So my week, wow. So I don't know if you all know, but let me just tell you, I'm studying multimedia journalism at Manchester Metropolitan. But as we know, everything is online. So yeah, and I've got two assignments, to complete, which is just like crazy. But if anybody knows me, they will know the two sport things what I really, really am passionate about. The first one is Formula One, love Lewis Hamilton. And the second is tennis. Who watched tennis? Australian Open. Woo!
I did.
I did. How fantastic was that?
It was awesome. It was awesome. And I always watch it from a mindset point of view as well. And it was really interesting to see that Medvedev he totally lost it in the end. And
Yes.
so what a crumble it was. It was an amazing crumble. So always interesting. But yeah, I love a bit of tennis. Yeah.
Yeah, same here. What did you think of the women's?
I didn't get to watch it, but it went as I expected.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I know Marina Active, I know she was up early watching tennis, watching the women's final. Brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, I hope you've all had a brilliant week, and now you're all settled and ready for our special guest to share his story with us all. And we've got a male on the show. How fantastic is this? It's usually all us women together, but today we have got a male. You see how good that is, guys? Yeah, exactly, Robert. About time too. So let me introduce Robert. So Robert is an international mindset and high performance coach who is passionate about his work. He specializes in helping individuals overcome their mindset blocks and limiting beliefs to achieve their dreams and goals, builds highly successful business and live a more happy, fulfilled life. Who would like to do that? I know there's lots of you out there, because I will definitely like to do that as well. So Robert, welcome to the Real Table Talk, and thank you so much for sharing your story today. So
great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well appreciated. We are just so happy to have you here. So can I just start with asking you, Karen, sorry, let me just say, so Robert, Karen, we have asked our audience, Karen, our audience, we interact with our audience, and they are going to be asking questions throughout. And Karen, she is going to be delivering the questions to you. Okay?
Okay, awesome.
Excellent. So Karen, have we got anybody on so far who wants to say hello?
Sergi's saying hi, Jackie Bailey saying hi, Hopper saying hi. Yeah, we've got a few people watching, so
excellent.
Good. Yeah, we usually get really good interaction with the audience, Robert. So
good.
It's really nice because it kind of makes the program, to be honest.
Yeah,
it does. That's what we are, right?
That's what we are. Excellent. Excellent. So Robert, your first question from myself, I want to know, because I found out that you went to see Tony Robbins.
Right.
Please tell us about that.
I've actually been a couple of times, but yeah, the last one was just last year. Was it last year or the year before? Oh yeah, it was lockdown last year. So the year before. The whole thing's a blur now because lockdown's just killed it, hasn't it? But I went the year before to London, saw him for UPW in London, which is Unleash the Power Within in London, which is a 4-day event. And awesome. Yeah. What do you want to know? It was unbelievable. It's a game changer. Anyone who's got a chance to go there and experience Tony Robbins live, whether, you know, some people have got their predetermined, you know, it depends on your attitude, you know, people have got their thoughts about what it is or what it isn't. But unless you've been, I always say, listen, just hold that down and just go and check it out for yourself. And you will probably, if you go there and you play full out, it will change something in your life. It's that powerful.
Right. Okay.
Can I ask you a question then, Robert?
Yeah, sure.
Did you walk on fire?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I did the firewalk. Yes. Because everybody, this time, I think nearly everybody did it. It was, there was a couple of people who pulled out right at the end, you know, right as you're about to go. But it was easy, to be fair. They do a lot of build up and a lot of safety stuff, and then they get you in the right mindset. And for about literally 3 hours before, they build you up and they keep talking about it. And on the big screens, they have all this stuff, and it's hard to explain, but they build you up. And then they have someone who talks you through how to do it. And you've got to look up and just walk. And you almost chant these things when you walk across the hot coals, and you're not allowed to look down and speed over, because when you look down, if you walk fast, you could slip on the coals and fall into the coals. So you've got to keep your head up. You walk forward and you just do this chant that we went over, and then there's someone at the end of it waiting for you, and they get you, and then straight away they put water on your feet and stuff, and that's it. And it's for a split second, it's a little bit daunting when you pull up to it, because you're walking through with everybody. And remember, with us, there was 13,000 people.
Wow.
Right? And there's loads of fire pits all lined up ready, right?
Wow.
And you're walking up and it takes ages to get to you, right? And you're just chatting with people you've met in the event and stuff, and you're like, yeah, this is nothing. So where are you from? What are you doing? Blah, blah. Then you get there and you look at it. When you're like a couple of feet away, you look at it and you go, holy crap. I don't know if I can swear on here, but sorry, but look, you get to a point and you're like, ooh, SHIT gets real. It's like, you go, oh, and it's glowing. They're like, the coals are glowing embers, right? And you think, I thought it'd be, in your head, you start thinking, I thought it'd be like just something lukewarm to just a mindset thing, get everyone mentally ready, for this thing. But it's proper glowing hot, 1,000 degrees coals, and you're looking at them and they're red and burning and everything. And you're looking and you're thinking, do I really want to do this? And hey, listen, we do it and it's great, and you're pumped up afterwards. And it's all just part of showing you really that you can overcome things that you didn't think you could. And it's really good. It's good fun.
Wow. It sounds exciting.
Yeah.
So did you know that you was going to do that beforehand then?
Everybody knows. If you go to UPW, everybody knows that the firewalk is part of it. So you know before.
Wow.
It's like I said, until you get to the edge of that fire pit, it's a different world altogether. It's like, ooh, hello. So people can all talk their talk, and there'll be people probably watching this going, just walk over that. It's no big. If you do it really quick, you're all right. But when you can feel the heat on your face, you think about a barbecue, a little barbecue in your back garden, right? And when you're blowing on those coals and they're glowing, you think, how long would you put your hand on it for? A second, a half a second, and you've got to walk across this like 8-10 foot pit of coals. So it gets you a little bit, you're like, ooh. So it's fun. It's good fun.
Wow. And how do you get your mindset ready for that then? Sorry.
Like I said, they really are good at, obviously he's been doing this, Tony Robbins, for 20 odd years. So they know how to build people up and get them ready for it. And then you've got people who, every kind of 50 or 100 people, there's a guy, the crew of the team working with you and telling you this stuff. And when you get to the edge of the pit, someone's there with you and he's chuntering in your ear, all this stuff, mindset stuff, and telling you, keep your head up, walk forward, just keep lifting your knees, all this stuff, and chanting this stuff. And you they have this spiritual guy come on and he tells you about, there's loads to it.
Wow.
But basically you just don't get burned, you just do it. But every year they have one or two, and one year they had it quite bad. There were a few people who got badly burnt and they had to go to hospital. But every year, mostly everyone's all right. And our year, there was, I don't think, what I knew of anyway, I don't think anybody had to go to hospital or anything like that.
Wow.
But that just keeps it real for you. It just makes it even more exciting, because you think, actually, you can get injured on this as well. But again, it works because you finish it and you go, wow, yeah, I did it. And it's all about overcoming your limiting beliefs again.
Yeah. Wow.
Sophie's asking, so Jackie Bailey said, she's really proud of the fact that you did the walk and failed to prepare to fail. Sergi's asked, would you do it again?
Oh, I'm going to do it again. Yes. I did.
Wow.
I did the UPW because they did it online last year. Last year, 2021 now, isn't it? They did it online, and I did UPW online, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah.
But as soon as it all comes back again, I will do UPW again. And then there's another one called Date with Destiny, which is even better. I'm going to do that again as well. But that's 5 days and it's seriously intensive. And especially if you're in a relationship, if you go in a relationship as a couple, you'll either go and come back single or you'll go and come back really strong. So that's a really good one as well. So I'm definitely going to do it. Yeah, definitely going to do it again.
It sounds fantastic.
Good.
So what made you get into, you know, looking at people's mindset and their brain? What made you get into that?
Wow. Just because I'll probably get told off by Karen, I'm going to give the short answer. I don't want to overdo it, but listen, there's a couple of reasons. There's a couple of ways, basically. But when I was, I'll just tell the story from the start. Karen will have to bite her tongue a bit.
Yeah.
When I was a nipper, we was in the RAF. My mum and dad was in the RAF, the forces, and we travelled around the world and that. But I was born in Singapore, and my mum and dad are Jamaican, and there wasn't, you know, they came to England, you know, like 16, 17, 18 or something like that. I can't remember, but they were in Bristol. Then they joined the RAF. And then off they went. So we didn't really know the UK. Went to there. Then we went to, my first memories were Cyprus, really, at little school. And then we did a few other places, Germany and stuff like that. So ich sprechen Sie ein bisschen Deutsch. I speak a little bit of Deutsch. But we went all over the place. And then we came back to the UK and we were based at RAF Bawtry in Doncaster. And they wanted to come out of the RAF because they wanted to settle for me and my brother. And they picked Leeds, thankfully, because they could have gone to Sheffield because they wanted a bigger city than Doncaster. And they picked Leeds. But when we got here, we moved to a place called Bramley, for those watching who don't know Leeds. And without being rude, that was a bit of a hole, especially back in the 80s. It isn't great, I don't think, but back in the late 70s, early 80s, yes, that's my age. It was a bit of a hole, right? And obviously, my mum and dad aren't from Leeds or anywhere. They just probably got helped relocating through the RAF, and that was that. And it was really racist. It was really tough for us. You know, I was this little black boy in the RAF, you know, came out of there from Cyprus or wherever we'd come from, Canary Islands, can't remember where we were first. But all of a sudden you dropped in Bramley in the late 70s, early 80s, Bother Boot Boy days, you know, with the skinheads and all that, and NF tattooed on their foreheads and all this stuff. And then I was there, hello, this little well-spoken little black boy, right? And it was just like lambs to the slaughter. I just got beaten up on the way to school every day, beaten up on the way home, used to get called all sorts of names, used to get a lot of racist abuse and stuff. And then I met a couple of black guys, moved to the area, and, you know, you kind of birds of a feather flock together, you know. And then I started boxing just to help me out a little bit. And I did quite well at that. I boxed for 15 years as an amateur and did quite well, boxed at a decent level. And cut long story short, when I left school, I decided I didn't want to go to uni. I was going to go to Sheffield Uni, but I didn't want to go to university. And I wanted to just make money because I didn't really have any and I wanted money. And so I left school. I started to do quite well in the world of work and business and stuff. But I always loved, I was an inquisitive kid, and I always loved the boxing. I loved the engagement with the guys. I loved coaching and mentoring the young ones coming through and stuff like that. So I wanted to coach, but I didn't know anyone. There were no coaches in my days. It's not like now where everybody's a coach or thinks they're a coach, should I say. You know, there was no one who looked like me either. There was no role models. There was nobody to aspire to. There was nothing, you know, and it was really tough. Now, because I hadn't had a degree, because I grew up in a tough inner city area with some tough lads, because we moved from Bramley and then we ended up going to Meanwood, and I was sort of hanging out in Meanwood, Chapeltown. all the inner city areas, Hyde Park, everything. And it was a bit of a tearaway. We were always brawling and stuff like that. And, you know, it was just how it was, you know, who you moved with was who you became, you know, and it was as simple as that, which now I understand is simple conditioning. You are what you move with. It's that simple. You're the sum of the 5 people you spend most time with. And it was really kind of weird because all this time, and a lot of people who know me, who may even watch this, won't know this, but at that time I was always fascinated with human behavior because I wanted to coach and help people and do coaching. But the people who you moved with at the time and the people who was around, you couldn't exactly go to them and say, hey, listen, guys, I'm not coming out tonight. I'm off to go home and read my psychological books and stuff like that. They'd have been like, get the out of here. So you just did it. And I just did it and studied for years and years about this stuff. And I was doing all right in the world of work and business. You know, I did quite well in some things. I lost money in other things. I set up businesses. I had property and everything. And then in 99, I went bankrupt. And that was a real eye opener for me. It was because all of a sudden, a lot of people who were your friends suddenly disappeared because you had no money and you wasn't the man about town anymore. And it just really, really kind of woke me up a little bit. But I still just, in my head, all I wanted to do was coach people. But I started to look around again and think, okay, what am I going to do now? And I started to build back. And again, cutting a bit of the story short, as I went through my world of work, I started to work for a corporate company, Co-op Group, and I did well there, and I got to head of sales there, and I was doing really well, but I wanted more again. And then I think this was about 10, 11 years ago, you asked about the car crash before, so I don't know if you want me to tell it now, but it's all part of the story.
1 second, can we just stop you there, because you've given us absolutely lots of information there.
Well, do you know what? There's loads to tell, but I'm just mindful of time, and it's you know, I'm 50 plus now, so it's like there's so much I have to miss out, but really it's all relevant. But the main thing is, right, I was working for I was sales director at a solar panel company. I had a sales team there, and one day we took them to this seminar in Manchester to see this 3-day seminar. This guy was speaking, blah, blah, blah. And it was amazing. He was like the British Tony Robbins. He was such a good, powerful speaker, and he blew my mind. And anyway, I approached this guy, told him about my dreams and aspirations and things of being a coach. And he, in the end, cut a long story short, he became a bit of a mentor to me. And I started working with him, and he taught me everything about the mind and human behavior and stuff like this. Then I started to study more and more and more on my own. And then again, just cutting all the big bit out, I ended up setting up as a coach myself. This would be about 8, 9, 10 years ago now. And I was doing it part-time while I was working. And it was just plodding along nicely. And I was just building my brand and just learning and developing and growing and going on courses, learning about NLP, CBT, anything I could study. And then I went full time about 5 years ago, and haven't looked back since. Now I'm fortunate enough to work with people, you know, all over the world. I've got clients in 8 different countries, and, you know, and all over the UK. But I always wanted to work with, especially help inner city kids or inner city younger people, not just kids, but young adults, because I was one of them. And what happens is you grow up in these environments and you have these limiting beliefs and mindset blocks. And it was that guy, my mentor, that helped me overcome my limiting beliefs and mindset blocks. Because for me, for 18 years, until I decided to do this through him, I just had this one saying, and it was one sentence, and it was just, I'm just Rob from Bramley and Leeds. That was my mindset, right? Even though most of my growing up was in Meanwood, but it was Rob from Bramley and Leeds was in my subconscious. And I used to say, who's going to listen to me? Who's going to pay me to talk, especially about psychological things and things to do with the mind and all that? And I just thought, no one's ever going to do it. So I never acted on it. I just kept being in the world of work and doing my thing, and I was doing okay. You know, I was working for a corporate at my peak. I was a 60K a year guy, and you know, I had a good job and everything, but I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't doing what I loved and what I really wanted to do. So it was only when my mentor came along, he helped me unblock those mindset blocks I had about myself, those beliefs. I'm just this little black kid from the estate. Who's going to listen to me? There's no way. I'm from the streets. You know what I mean? It's like, who's going to come to me? And he helped me unblock that and said, Rob, you've been studying this stuff for years. You know your stuff and everything, course you can do it. And we went through certain things that he taught me that I now teach clients. And I realized that, like, hold on a minute, why can't I do it? What's different about me? And then I did it. And now, you know, I make I earn more now than I've ever done in my life. And I live a really good life. I've got a nice home, nice family. We drive nice cars. We've got on lovely holidays. But I'm doing what I love. Now I'm passionate. Now I love helping. So my mission now is to help 1 million people around the world overcome their limiting beliefs and mindset blocks that are stopping them living the life they really want to live. And on the side of that, I've got a real passion, especially for inner city people, not just black people, but mostly black people, but inner city young people, helping them overcome whatever little doubts and mindset blocks they've got to achieve what they want, because there's so much talent out there. There's so much untapped potential, and it gets destroyed because you grow up around certain people, you grow up around your crew, you grow up around certain individuals. It could even be inside your own home. It could be your mum, your dad, your family, and they've lost their belief, they've lost their drive. So you take it on, and you, in your head, you've got this, maybe, you know, someone could be watching this now thinking, I really want to do this, or I really want to do that, or I really want to do the other, but I'm just me, and I haven't got the education, or I don't speak the Queen's English, or I don't do, it's all BS, honestly. And my passion is to help them get past that and say, okay, forget that, let's just do it and just make it happen. And you'll be surprised when you go into it with a mindset of, you know, that's of a go-getter, you know, you'll be surprised what you can achieve in life. And
absolutely. Well, Robert, you've given us absolutely lots of information there, you know, regarding your work, where you lived, and where you grew up, which is fantastic. Can I take you back a bit, because we need to ask you some questions about all this information what you've just given us. So, you know, you said that you were born in Singapore.
Yeah.
So what was that like? How long was you in Singapore?
Well, I was only a baby then, so I can't really tell you so much about that. I'm always wanting to go back there. I've not been fortunate enough to get back there yet, but I'm gonna. I just know it's a beautiful country and it's very clean. It's everyone who goes there says, "Oh my God, it's so clean."
Yeah, I've been to Singapore actually, and it is absolutely beautiful.
Have you? Well, there you go. So no, we was only there for I don't even know. I'd have to ask my mother, a couple of years or so. And then we went to, I think we came back to UK for a short stop, and then we were based in Cyprus. And I think my earliest memories were Cyprus. I think I just remember, I think we were being evacuated out of there and everything because the wars kicked off. They have the troubles that went on back in the late 70s, 80s, and things were blowing up and all sorts, and we was quickly shot out of there. So, but that's my earliest memories, was Cyprus, going to school there and stuff like that. So that's why I've been back there a few times on holiday. I love it there.
Okay, Karen?
Comments from Jackie Bailey. So she says, great that you bounced back from bankruptcy. Brilliant, which is amazing. And she said she heard someone called Gerald Rather. I've not heard of him speak about this, and it was also really interesting. But she asks, who was the British man who mentored you?
Michael Finnegan.
Michael Finnegan. Okay.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
So what was it like then? I mean, just give us a little bit. What was it like growing up? Well, you've given it, is it really? So I'll leave it there. I was just going to ask you, what was it like growing up in Bramley? But you gave us a little insight of.
It was what it was. It's just the country. It wasn't just Bramley, it was the country at that time. A lot of people won't remember, but if people from Leeds are watching, I'm sure people all over the world are going to watch it, especially if I share it, if it's on my platform as well, because most of the people on there are all over the world, but in the area, in the country, actually, in that time, and I think you guys from Leeds here, especially, and even further afield, will know themselves. England was very racist and a different world to live in back then. And even in Leeds, I remember growing up, it was almost a no-go zone was half of town. You know, you'd go into the town centre and you couldn't go to the bottom of town on a Saturday afternoon. It was just a no-go zone for black people, you know, and us lot, we was all wild and young, and we used to go there looking for, you know, the trouble. We wouldn't have it and all that. And we'd have a massive team that would go there every week. We'd end up in brawling and stuff like that. It was a different time. And, you know, the whole world, you know, you had the Chapeltown riots, you had all sorts before that, you know, it was just a different time. And do you know, to be honest, at the time, it didn't seem that horrendous. It just seems more horrendous looking back on it. Because at the time it was normal. You know, you have to remember, this was the time when our comedians were telling racist jokes on national telly and we were all just watching it, and it was normal. So it was just a different time, is all I can say. But you just put up with it, you know, battling, you know, getting into battles on the way to school every morning was normal for me. It wasn't even, I don't remember, when I think back to it now, I don't remember thinking, oh my God, this is horrendous, my life's awful. It was just what it was.
Well, I grew up in Halton Moor, so I went to schools there, and in Halton Moor there was a lot of, well, there wasn't many people of colour who lived up there. So yeah, it was just horrendous with racism.
Oh, that's worse than Bramley. You did well.
As soon as I turned 16, out.
He was out, yeah.
Yeah.
You go, Robert, about when you're in it. So I think, Marcy, I think you grew up in more the posher side. I think you were more Hare Hills.
Yeah, it was Hare Hills.
So I was born and grew up in Chapeltown, and when you'd hear all this stuff, you'd like, what the hell about? You know, we're here, it's vibrant, my friends are here, my family's here, it's pretty good. But when you look back, you think, yeah, some bad things did happen, but it's what you know, isn't it? And what you
know what? Do you know what, Karen, when you said that, when we was in Bramley, and we was when we were about 11, I remember me and my brother used to always say to my mum and dad, we want to move to Chapeltown, we want to move to Chapeltown, because we just heard about Chapeltown. We hadn't even been there, you know, as on our own, because we were 11, right? We were kids. And we used to go, we want to move Chapeltown. And obviously there was all these troubles and all this stuff going on at the time. So my mum and dad were like, you ain't going to Chapeltown. You especially are not going to Chapeltown. To me, you are not going to Chapeltown. You're crazy. And they never went there. They just never would move there, because it wasn't so much my brother. I think it was more they were bothered about me and who I'd end up moving with. So that never happened.
You and Leslie kind of black in a white community, where we were in a black community, we felt quite safe. It was when we came out. So when we went to school and got all this racist stuff, and when we were going into work, it was like, what is going on here? But Chapeltown was our safety net. We were fine.
That was a daily thing for us. That was just normal.
Absolutely. Daily. As soon as you stepped out your house, it was just on go fully.
I think subconsciously, you know, like me and Karen, you know, subconsciously we knew something was going on. Because do you remember when, you know, you saw a black person on TV and you go around the whole house shouting, black person on telly, and everybody would just come running.
Rare. It was rare, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And this is why I was saying, as I was growing up, there were no role models to look at and go, well, he's a coach, so I can do it. So that's why I never did it. And that one sentence just robbed from Bramley, and just robbed. It wasn't even Bramley. It was just robbed from the estate, right? I'm just robbed from the estate. Who's gonna listen to me? Who's gonna pay to hear what I've got to say outside of my little roughneck people? You know, I can't make a career out of this. And that robbed me of it for 18 years. I never acted on it. And you got to think about that. It's 2 decades, guys, you know, and one sentence held me back for 2 decades. If I never made that shift, I would have still been, I'd have been working, I'd have been doing all right. I'd have been, you know, making some money. But when we talk about fulfillment, there's a difference between making a living and doing what you love. You know, there's two totally different things. And you know, that one sentence held me back. And what I talk to people about is, what's your story? And everyone's got one, and everyone's got one sentence. Everyone's got one in the head. Some people got 3 or 4, but everybody's got at least one. And when I say that to them, they go, what do you mean? What do you mean? One sentence? And everyone's got it. This one thing that's niggling away at them, that they just doubt about themselves, or they're unsure about themselves. And everybody's got one. And my mission is to help them overcome that and just move past it.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. And yeah, because I was like that. I didn't have this belief. I read that book, Feel the Fear, but do it anyway. And I was like,
do it anyway.
And do it anyway. And it's like, can I really do this? And it's like, don't question yourself, just go and do it. Just keep moving forward, which is fantastic. So what do you,
it's like the sorry,
go ahead.
I just want, you know, like you're talking, you know, it is true, you know, it is about, you know, all of us carry a dream, you know, and sometimes we just let life circumstances prevent us from moving forward. And I read some research recently, and I cannot remember the name of the person, but it was a nurse, and she was a palliative care nurse, and so she worked with, you know, a lot of people who were dying. And, you know, I think the research, it was about what people regretted not doing. You know, it was never about the job that they did. It was never about the amount of money that they had, but it was always mostly about what they never. Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen the study, and I've done a big study on that study.
Yeah.
It's always about, they always regret what they didn't do.
Absolutely.
And that's it. Nobody ever remembers what car they had, or big holidays they went on. It's what didn't I do? What didn't I just go for? And when you look back, and it's a good point, thanks for bringing it up. But when you look back, you think, I didn't do that for what? Because I was bothered about what people are going to say, or what someone might think. And what you'll find is, when we all do that, we all care, especially now since the advent of social media and stuff. We're bothered about what people think. Oh, I don't want to post this, or I don't want to do that, or I don't want to try. But what you'll find is, most people don't care. They just don't care. You're not that important, for one, and they just don't care. They're too busy running their lives. Yeah. And you've just got to focus on you and just do your thing. Maybe for a minute, when they see you on there posting something or doing something, they'll go, oh yeah, what's that? And they might have a quick think about it. But a couple of flicks later, you're history, you know? So you've just got to do you. You've got to be happy and fulfilled in your own life, because, as you quite rightly said, when you get on your deathbed, when you're laying there and you're looking back, you'll think, why didn't I move to that city? Why didn't I go to that different country? Why didn't I date that guy? Why didn't I leave that guy? Why didn't I, you know, do that thing, start that business? Why didn't I do it? What was I worried about? Was I worried about money? Was I worried about security? Was I worried about, what is security? You know, what is money? You can always go back and do what you're already doing. If you're in a job and you think, oh, I hate this job, it's a dead end job, I'm not going anywhere. There's a lot of dead end jobs that are not going anywhere. You can always get another one, but you can't always you can never get, should I say, your time back.
And so what happened? Sorry, Karen.
There's a video that I play to lots of the children that I work with, children and young people, and adults as well, but mainly the younger people. And it's by a guy called Prince EA.
Yeah,
and it's called Everybody Dies, but Not Everybody Lives. And when the kids see the title, they go, oh, miss, don't be showing us anything depressing. I'm going, honestly, it's not depressing. But everybody lives, but everybody dies, but not everybody lives, by Prince EA. Honestly, it's only 7 minutes long. You say, I even know how long it is. It's 7 minutes long, and it is just amazing in terms of starting to change that way that you think about things, because he talks exactly about that people regret, you know, and it's people on the deathbed. What do you miss? What do you regret? I regret not doing. And that's the whole theme of the thing. So yeah, really good one.
I think it's the worst thing in the world is regret. It's so powerful an emotion, you know, regret, because you can't do anything about it. You can't, you know, you're better off to try and fail, because to me, there is no failure. There's only feedback, right? Yeah. So if you can learn from something, you can put it right next time and do something else again and again and get better and better and better. But regret, that's just over. It's done. Yeah. So Just
Yeah.
try not to have too many regrets and just go for it.
Not have any
Especially if
regrets.
there's some really burning desire that you've got, just scratch that itch and do it.
Do it, do it, do it. Totally agree with that. Just do it.
Now, the second person that said to me this week, we had a session with some university students the other day, and we had some guest presenters on there. And one of the guys on there was saying, there is, there's no such thing as failure, it's just feedback. And I'm like, I'm stealing that. I actually wrote it down, and I am stealing it.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
That's so true. So, Robert, I know you, and I don't want to go back to your, but we've got to go back, because I know that you just mentioned about a car accident. What happened? What happened there?
Well, that was the excuse me. That was the catalyst, right? So I had a car accident going to work one morning about, must be 11 years now, 12. Anyway, I was on the way to work. It was January the 20th, middle of winter, and it had been a very icy, snowy night the night before. And I was heading over to a place called Wetherby in Leeds. And anyway, I took a shortcut down a back street, down a country lane, should I say. There's a golf course on one side and a big field on the other. And it just had black ice all the way down this road. And taking detail out of it, I've gone down, I've gone for the brakes. There's no brakes, there's no traction. There's a Jeep coming towards me. I thought, oh, crap. And there's a big hedge next to me with the golf course. So I thought, put it through the hedge, go into the golf course rather than run into somebody, right? So we're doing about 40 mile an hour. They're doing 40 miles. So it's an 80 mile an hour impact. So it's going to hurt, right? So I thought, I'm going through the hedge. So I've full locked it to go through the hedge, and it's carried on going straight. So that's when I knew, okay, this is a bad day at the office, this. And it's amazing. Your heart just drops and you just think, oh, this is it. This is it. And I just remember stamping on the brakes and, holding the wheel and it just hit. And and that was it. And then I came round and the seatbelt was holding me up. And I sort of just jumped up. And I don't know how long I was out, maybe 10 minutes, something like that. And I couldn't see out the window because the bonnet was up there. The car was, the front of the car was like that. It was crushed. And that was that. And I tried to get out of the car and I couldn't get out this side. Obviously, the hinges are knackered, so you couldn't open the door. But when I tried to open the door, it was a sharp pain down my arm. I broke my wrist, and I thought, I'll get out this side. And as I've looked across, I've seen the state of my hand and my wrist, and it made me, I was like, I started hyperventilating because, the bone had come through here. I've got like a skin graft. You can see it there. I don't want to put all the viewers off, but all my fingers were crushed and everything. But I'd broken my sternum as well. My clavicle was broken from the seatbelt. Internal injuries. I'd broke my legs, my kneecaps, and I was smashed to bits basically. And but my first thought, when I came round and as I came up, I went, and I woke up. I looked round and I thought, oh my God, I can't believe I've done that. And I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm totally fine. And that shows you how much adrenaline is coursing through my body. I didn't feel a thing. And I was just trying to get out of the car. And it was only when I saw this hand and it was like bent at some weird angle and my finger, the bone was sticking out and all this stuff. I thought, that's when I had grazes on my knees and there was some blood coming through the trousers that I had on because I had a suit on going to work. And I thought, oh my God, after seeing my arm, I didn't want to look at my legs. So I just didn't look down and I just tried to get out of the car because I could smell burning, but it was the airbag that had gone off. So I'm trying to clamber out the car. And anyway, I just passed out and that was it. And the next minute, well, not next minute, it took about half an hour because the roads were all clogged up because of snow and ice. So they had to get an air ambulance. Air ambulance came. And then I could hear people ripping the door open. The emergency services, so they're prizing the door open and they were going to cut me out the vehicle, but they couldn't cut me out because I'd moved. Once you've moved, they just get you out, because normally they'd have to check to make sure there's no spinal injury, so they just cut you out and lift you out in your seat. But obviously I was unconscious in the other seat, the passenger seat, because I was trying to get out the other side because I knew this side was couldn't get out. So that was that. And then next minute, I'm in the helicopter. I'm flying to LGI and, or was it St. James? No, LGI. And I was in there for, that was it. I set off for work and I didn't go back for best part of a year, 6 months,
Wow.
whatever it was. And had to just rehab everything again. And even now, my fist isn't as tight as it used to be, as this one is. So and there's a problem still with my left knee and everything, but I'm all right, I'm alive. But the point I was making about that before was when I was in hospital recovering, I thought to myself, Christ, you nearly died. You nearly died and you still haven't lived the life you really want to live.
Absolutely.
Imagine if you'd have gone to meet your maker and you've done all right. Your life's been good. You've had some fun, you know, you've done your thing, but you haven't done what you really were passionate about. You haven't become a coach. You haven't done that. That's what you want to do. You've studied this stuff for God knows how long now, 20 years, and you've still not done it. It's time. And that was when I made the decision that by hook or by crook, it was going to happen. And it wasn't even about Michael, the guy who really made me think this is what I want to do. I'd already made up my mind. That's what I was going to do. He really gave me the catalyst to go and do it and make it happen. But that crash was really good for me in terms of that. So what I always say to people is whatever you're going through at the moment, no matter how bad it is, sometimes you're having to go through that because you're being redirected to where you need to be. And you just need to change your perspective. And perspective is something I talk a lot about with my one-to-one clients, but you have to change your perspective and look at it, reframe it as something that's for you, not working against you, because too often we think that life happens to us, but actually it's happening for us. And once you really believe that, once you really take that on board, and I don't care if you're watching this right now, what shit you're going through, sorry, pardon my French, but I don't care what you're going through now. If you learn to reframe that and go, okay, what's this trying to tell me? What's happening? And especially those people like who come to me and go, oh, it's always me, and there's always this, and this guy, they always leave me, and then this job, I always seem to end up in a crap one, and then this, and that. There's a pattern, right? If it's always happening, it's you. It's not, you're the common denominator, not the other things. So what you've got to do is reframe it and look at it from a different angle and go, okay, what can I do different? And start making different decisions and really take your life off at a different angle. And you'll, at worst, you're going to get a different version of things going wrong, but it'll be better than what you're currently having, because you can't keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. That's that definition of insanity that we all know about, right? So you have to do something different. And that car crash was kind of the wake-up call for me. It was saying, okay, it's time to do something different. It's time to change your whole life. And from that point on, I really did change my whole life. Even the people I was I stopped hanging around with certain people. I took more care of my health and stuff like that. I was still smoking at that point. There's lots of things I changed. I changed everything. I made a conscious decision. This is going to change. And ever since then, I'm in the best position in my life that I have ever been in half a century, believe it or not. So it shows anyone can do it.
Yeah, no, that's, wow, Robert, that's a brilliant story, and thank you so much for all that information, because it's so true. When you're there and you're facing death, you're looking at death because you could have easily died, and then to change everything around, to change your mindset so people can do it. We can do it. It's like, a couple of weeks ago, I thought I was going to die. I was in this dark place recovering from COVID, and I couldn't see the light. I couldn't see this light. And I'm like, I need to see the light. And it was so hard because my mind, and I had to keep my mind positive that you're going to be fine, you're going to be fine. And on my vision board, what I've got in my bedroom, and I kept on reading that and looking at the things, what I need to achieve. And, I think that just kept me going, actually, just, made me really focus on, I'm not ready to go yet. I'm not ready to go yet. But yeah, you've got to keep moving forward, and all those things, what you want to do in life, you've got to push yourself forward to do them.
Most definitely, yeah.
That, your story, Robert, is just unbelievable, and it's thank God you're still here. And there's a couple of things for me there, and I think one of them is what you, Master, and I do as coaches, it is that thing about perspective, and that's everything that we do is based on. We are external eyes and ears. Have you thought about looking at it from this angle and looking at different options? And the other thing is about, you know, when that thing happens to you. So when my husband was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and I'm talking about, this is how quick it happened. So one day I was like you, Robert, I had my corporate job. I was earning, as the kids would say, I was earning bare money. Michael had his own business. He was doing amazingly well, you know, working hours, doing what he loves. I was doing what I loved. And the next, something, you know, we saw that something was happening, and he got an investigation. But then the next day, when we got told that he had a brain tumor, that night our lives changed just like that. So he had to pack his business in right there and then. Even when we came home that night and he started getting phone calls, he was like, "Oh, I can't do the work because he can't be an electrician." So his business finished that night. He lost his license. He couldn't drive that night. They gave him 18 months to live. So as far as he was concerned, his life was over like that night. You know, I walked out of my job within weeks. So we went from earning all this money to nothing. But that's the thing that made me think, right, this is what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to work with kids. I need to stop messing about now, and I need to crack on. And luckily, 7 years later, Michael's still here, and they got that wrong. But it does make you think, stop messing about. Life's too short. And for me, it's not the shortness of life, you know, it's the unpredictability of it. We can plan as much as we want sometimes, and you just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So just do what you need to do today. That's the thing. Just really, let's just crack on. And we're capable of, I'm going a bit of a rant now, but we are capable of so much. We really are. You know, when we dig deep, we know, Dr. Marcy, we have these conversations all the time, and things happen, and we start to do things, and we see that momentum start to build, and we're like, why didn't we do this years ago? And maybe now's the right time. But it's like, guys, if you're listening, watching, whatever you're planning to do or want to do with your life, just do it. And find people like Robert, like Marcy, like me, like Leslie, that can help you to do it, because I work with children all the time, and when you see them go from, are you saying, Miss, if I do this, this and this, I can achieve this? And I go, yep.
Yes.
I'm going to do it. And I'm like, yeah, it's like the best thing.
I love that. And thanks for sharing that anyway, and the vulnerability of it. But that must have been tough for you, Karen. I couldn't think, you know, what I'd do if my partner had a brain injury now, and you must have had to, you know, because you've got to look after them, you've got to think of the household, you've got to think of everything else. That must have been super tough. And but it shows us, doesn't it, what we can achieve even in the face of adversity. And you know, that's a powerful story, and it just shows you. I mean, even on my side, I there's so much more to tell, but you know, people say to me, "Oh yeah, but it's all right for you, Rob. You know, you're a good talker, or you're good at this, or you're good at no, you know, or you had good parents, or something like that." We were broke, man. They were working class parents. They just grafted, man. I didn't have a pot to pee in, you know. I did everything myself. Everything I've done I'm not even playing. You know, some people say, I need to thank so and so. No, it was me. It's that simple. I wanted it that bad. Afterwards, after that car crash and everything else, I said, this is it. I'm going to make this happen. And that was it. The only other person I would probably give real big props to is my missus, because I probably wouldn't have done it without her, because of the support and the motivation. And even when I was feeling down, she'd lift me up and say, come on, you know, you're good enough to do it, just get on with it. But apart from that, it was me. It's that simple, you know. And I was the one dragging myself off to courses and learn things when mates were out partying and doing their thing. I was the one going and investing thousands of pounds, like the Tony Robbins event and stuff. Last year, I spent over £40,000 on my personal development. My coach alone is 30 grand a year. You know, so when people tell me, oh, this or that, or it's come easy for you, I'm here to call BS on that, right? When I had my car crash, remember, we're only going back a decade, 10 years ago, you know what I mean? You know, when that all happened to me, I lost everything. You know, it was like, you know, all the money was taken away and everything. I was living in a studio apartment in Meanwood at the time. And then when I say a studio, I mean a studio. The bottom of my bed, the kitchen's there, you know how it is. And then you've got your little TV area here, and then a separate room for toilet and shower and everything, right? At the bottom of my bed was the bin for the kitchen. At the bottom of my bed. You know, people don't, listen, I have to tell youths that say to me, oh man, yeah, but it's all right for you, bruv, rare. It's like, yo, I had nothing. I had a car, I think it was like 300 quid. And like I said, a studio apartment and nothing left in the bank. The insurance wouldn't pay out for the crash. They said the police gave a statement and said it's a non-fault accident. It was just black eyes, two people coming together. The insurance came up with some convoluted thing. They wouldn't pay out, right, because they knew it was going to be big. I was going to claim for a year of lost earnings. So I can't even think of the figure, tens and tens of thousands, because I'd have probably earned 60, 70, 80K that year. So I lost all of that. I lost everything. I was living off my missus. She was having to pay for both of us. At that point, we were only together a year. So it was tough, right? And as a man, when you're having to live off someone and it's like, you know what it's like, you want to provide, right? And there was no money coming in. I couldn't work, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. When I got out of hospital after 2.5 weeks or something, I was bedridden, and I was getting bed baths in there because I couldn't get showers or anything. So she'd have to give me bed baths, then she'd have to go back to work because she'd had enough time off, and then come back, empty my little wee bottle and stuff like this, get me in front of the TV, go back to work, come back at the end of the day, cook for me, look after me, get me in bed, do my bed baths and all that, listen. And I was all through that saying to myself, right, I need to get back. How am I going to get back? And I hit a dark period for a while and felt sorry for myself and all this. But then there came a point where you've got to roll your sleeves up and say, okay, and start making some plans, some goals, stuff. I started watching YouTube clips of old motivational stuff that I'm into, Tony Robbins and all this sort of stuff. And I just got my mindset right and just started a long plan of how I was going to come back. And then I got a basic job. I was knocking on doors my first when I came back, selling different things. And I was a grown-ass man. I was 40 odd years old, and I was knocking on doors, and I just wanted to earn again and that, but my confidence was on the floor because I'd been out of work so long and I'd been injured. I was still limping. When I first went back, I had crutches. It was tough. And then I just built up, and now from leaving that job within 6 years, so this will be my 5th year, really, 6th year. From that point of being skinned, then now, I'm in a totally different position. Wow. And I've got a beautiful home in North Leeds, in Woodley, and we've got 2 beautiful cars, and we go on great holidays. My daughter, she's 2.5 years old. She's been on 3 holidays already. She'd have been on more if it weren't for lockdown. Yeah. And we live a great life. We live a fantastic life, and I've turned it around. But it was only because I needed that kick. It was that was needed to change. Like you saying, Karen, it was just that catalyst, that change, that shift in perspective, that I just thought, do you know what? It's on me now. And if it is to be, it's up to me, is the saying. And that's it. And you've got to stop looking at life and like something's owed to you, or someone's going to come along and save you, because no one is. But you can save yourself, and you've just got to reach out and find. And then when you want it that bad, you will find the people, the resources, the things that are going to help you get there. Don't worry about money. Don't say, yeah, but I ain't got any money, or I haven't got this, or I ain't got that. There's always a way. And if you want it bad enough, the universe will give you what you need, like it did me. I had nothing. Anyone watching this, I want you to get this. I had nothing.
Nothing.
I'm not talking about, yeah, but I had a couple of grand in the nothing.
So listen,
Aaron, have we got any questions?
Yeah, there's a few people out here saying, well done, life's too short. Paul is saying tomorrow's just another day, start as you mean to go on. Good for you, Robert. Jackie's saying resilience, focus, tenacity, self-investment, and great partnership. Good for you, Robert, and absolutely well done. Yeah. And I just want to, and you have done amazingly well. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Whilst you were talking, it just made me think of a little situation with my brother. So my brother, he's in the Caribbean now. You know him, Marcy Calvin. So he's crazy. He's my brother. So when he was he came over. They were born in Jamaica, came over here, and he couldn't find a job. And he started doing door-to-door selling books, encyclopedias. So he used to practice on us. So he'd go out the front room door, and he'd knock on the door, and we wouldn't answer. And then he'd knock again, and we wouldn't answer. He'd like, Karen, man, answer the door. I'm going to pray for you. And we'd go, okay, then. And then he'd knock on the door, and we'd go, he'd knock on the door, and we'd go, what do you want? No, you can't. We put him through a really hard time. But it just brought me back to that. But
hey, listen, I remember those days of encyclopedia salesmen coming back to when I was younger, right? And there were loads of encyclopedia salesmen, and my mum bought the Collins encyclopedia.
My mum.
Yeah.
I bought it off my brother because we didn't help him at all.
That was it, and I remember it, and every time we used to ask anything, she'd go, look it up.
Go look at the encyclopedia. What do you think I bought it for?
You know what, guys? All joking apart, right? This is why I'm passionate as well. When people come to me with complaints about stuff and everything, especially younger people, they don't know they're born. End of the day, right? Everything is here. Everything is here, right? Google is your friend, right? You've got YouTube and Google. It's the same thing, except one's video and one's not, right? But basically, it's the same thing. Google bought YouTube, for those who don't know. But anything you want to know in the world is at your fingertips now. It's not like in our day where my mum would make us look it up in the encyclopedia and find out what it is, right? But now you can just go, and you've got the answer. It's that simple. Yeah. There is no excuses. There's no excuses. I don't care if you want to be a mechanic, a builder, electrician, whatever it is, I don't care. You can go online, you can find courses, you can start learning a little bit yourself just offline. There'll be videos of almost anything in that area that you want to know. I used to do it when I was learning about the mind and human behavior and what makes us do what we do, because that's what I'm fascinated about. And I just Googled it. I just Googled everything. And then there were certain courses that came up, and then I'd say, right, okay, how much is that course? Right, I need to find that money. I'm going on that course. And at first I'd go on really crappy little ones, cheap ones that won't run very well and stuff, but I'd learn a lot from it. So I'd get that. And then later on, when I made more money, I'd go on a better version and a better one and stuff like that. And that's all it is. It's desire. And unfortunately, a lot of people just don't want it bad enough. Yeah. It's that simple. But it is out there for you, everything. But you've got to have long-term view, because society now has made us all have a throwaway. It's a throwaway society. We've got fast food, fast restaurants, fast this. You've got Uber Eats, for Christ's sakes now. You can order McDonald's now at home. It's crazy, right? So we're used to having things quick and then throwing it away and getting a new one. Even relationships, marriages, they just get another wife. It don't matter, right? That's it, right? It's crazy.
Robert.
Because of that, psychologically, it makes us do the same with our lives. If it doesn't happen now, I'm not interested. And that's the attitude. Whereas if you put a couple of years of hard work in, you'll be surprised at what you can achieve.
So, Robert, who's your superhero?
Who's my superhero? What do you mean in terms of what in life?
Yeah.
Wow. Probably my missus and my mother and my dad. I'll have to throw him a bone. Yeah. Because my missus, because of what I've said already, my mum, because of the unbelievable upbringing she gave us. She worked for 25 years, literally on nights as a nurse. I remember her learning, develop herself and wanting a degree to move up in nursing so she could be like a sister total level or whatever it was. And I remember thinking, are you crazy? Because I was growing up by now. I was like in my 20s, right? And I'm like, you're going to start that now? Are you mental? I was thinking, I can't even be bothered to do that. Never mind you. And I remember coming home and she'd have papers out on the floor and everything, studying and all this. And she passed and she got there in the end. And it was like, wow, okay, I'm impressed. That shows. And again, that shows anyone watching this, she was I was in my 20s, so she passed the degree and moved on. And she instilled that into us as well. And she was a strong old woman. And if you know my mum, she's a tough cookie as well. And she's now over in Jamaica living on her own, and she holds it down, runs that big old house out there on her own. And I've seen her cuss out some big old Rasta Jamaicans, and she's like 5 foot wet through, you know what I mean? And she's a strong woman. So she's like a superhero to me. And obviously my dad, because my dad was just a grafter. He worked hard for us and provided for things that really, for the amount of money we had coming in and everything, we had no right to have really. But it's only now as I'm older that I look back and realize what they must have sacrificed to give us. We went on trips with school and stuff that, we really couldn't afford, but we got there. I went skiing when I was a nipper, with schools, and it was like black people skiing. You don't see much of that now, never mind back then. It was weird. And that's a whole new story. You'd have to have me back on for that one, talking about Austrian kids coming up to us and going, does it come off? Does it come off? And they didn't even know. They didn't know. And the only black person they'd ever seen before when we were talking to him was Eddie Murphy on TV. So, we've traveled, we've seen some stuff. And so they're my three superheroes, I think.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
Brilliant. Listen, we've got a question here from Sergi, and it's one of the things Robert will know, because we kind of follow each other a bit on LinkedIn. I don't often have rants on LinkedIn. I choose not to have rants publicly. But one of the ones I've had a couple of rants on LinkedIn around is around coaches and so-called coaches. So Sergi's saying, so there's a lot of coaches out there, and apart from you guys who are real, would you say some coaches are only in it to make money? Now, I'm going to let Robert speak about this, but I'll just say this to you, that interestingly, I've just started blogging, as Matthew knows, and my next blog, which is due out, is about how to find a really good coach for your children, for your young people, and what to look for and what to be wary of when you're looking for coaches. And I'll quickly start, because we are really out of time. But the thing is, Sergi, and Robert knows this, that the coaching world is unregulated. You can sit up tomorrow and call yourself a coach. Anybody can. And my thing is that coaching can be very dangerous if people don't know what they're doing, particularly if you've got the wrong person in front of your child and they don't know what they're doing as a coach. They can be very damaging indeed. So Sergi, in terms of young children, read my blog when it comes out. But yes, some coaches are only out there for the money. Some coaches have absolutely no clue what to do. They can do all the models, they can do all the techniques, but they still really don't know what they are doing. And it's very, very dangerous. You're looking for a coach? Well, there's an amazing one here. His name is Robert Lattibeaudiere. But I don't know, what's your view, Robert, in terms of coaches?
It's pretty much the same. I'm kind of over it now. I went through a little phase 1.5 years, 2 years ago about it. And because especially mindset coaches, it seems like there's a million out there now. Yeah. And every PT in the world is a mindset coach as well. It's like, what? You work and motivate your people a little bit, but now you're a mindset coach too. But I'm over it now. And I've got this because I've realized that when you focus too much on that, you're coming from a place of lack. So you're thinking like they're going to take my clients. So now I'm over it. I'm more like, now listen, you do what you've got to do. And most of them don't last the course anyway, because like you said, they're not very good. They're not going to get great results. So they're not going to get referred and moved on. But what I say to people is, if you want to coach, the first thing is you've got to resonate with them anyway. So just have a call with them or two, have a chat with them, make sure that you resonate with them, because you won't be able to work. It doesn't matter, even if they're a good coach, they might not just resonate with you. I'm a certain type of coach. I call myself the results guy. I like to get results. I'm quite firm. I'm quite tough. I'm fast moving. I really want to help people. I'm passionate. So I won't work with people who don't really want it. So I've sacked quite a few clients and people. So I'm the total antithesis of someone who's in it for the money, because of course I want to make good money out of it. And but if somebody's just not doing it, I can't turn up every week and talk to them if they're not doing the basics of what I want them to do. So I'll just say, look, we can't carry on anymore. There's no point, because you're not ready. You're not where you want to be. So that's that. But what I would say is, just go with someone who resonates with you and just check them out a bit, see their because forget even qualifications and stuff. Just look at who they've worked with before, get some referrals and see what people say. And if they've got 2 or 3 people who you can speak to and they're not scared of you speaking to them, then, and you get on with that person and there's a synergy there, then you'll be probably in good hands then. But these other coaches, if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, I might do a coach, just forget it. Because if you're not passionate about it, remember, you're just going to wreck someone's life, you know, because you have got people's lives in your hands, and they do rely on you. They do really lean into you. And to me, it's a calling, it's a passion. You've got to really want to do it. And, you know, the first year of my coaching, I made about 10K, you know, I made nothing. It was like next to nothing. So, you know, I've served my time, you know, and now I'm in a position to be a 6-figure coach and do well out of it. But I deserve it because I've done, you know, 2 years in the wilderness. The first 2 years I did it, and then slowly, but I invested in myself and slowly built up, because I was willing to pay for coaches to coach me and show me how to do it and challenge me and challenge my own thoughts, because you've got to have overcome your own limiting beliefs. And you can't be, there's so many coaches that are broken out there, but they're trying to coach other people that are broken. It's just scary. So just be careful.
And I think that's one of the most important questions. If you ask a coach if they have a coach and they say no, run a mile.
Oh, wow.
I've got about 3 coaches.
Coaches should have coaches. It's that.
Martin got 2. There you go. So that's the first thing, Sergio. If your coach hasn't got a coach, you need to run a mile, because we all need that somebody that just gives us that perspective and that little show. One question, Robert, one quick one. So I'm not really into branding. I don't get it. But your baseball hat, your brand.
Yes, that's my brand. That's my logo. And then it's the human experience underneath. Yeah, branding. I think it's important to have some kind of brand. I'm more Coach Rob. There's a kind of a clash of brands now, because it's kind of morphed into Coach Rob Lattie. And then there's the human experience, but I've also got Transform as a brand, because I'm doing all these workshops and stuff that I'm going to be doing when the pandemic's over. And also my courses are all based on transforming. So there is that. But the main brand, that's the thing, and all my logos. And if you look on my Instagram and Facebook, it's all on there, is that brand. I think it's important to have some kind of something that they can associate you with. But for coaches, the most important thing is your name. It's that simple. So, you know, as long as you've got your name and that's your brand, really. And
I've just never seen you without your hat on. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and a lot of people haven't. It's funny. You know what? When they do see me without on, they go, "Oh my God, you look so different without your hat on." I can't believe I've never seen you without your hat on. But, I'll give you an exclusive. It's like, no, I'm not doing it. But I love my caps. You know, I've got over 100 and some caps in there, and these are my own brand. And it was amazing, because I said, last year at some point, I said, somebody asked me if they could buy one, and I said, I've got a limited edition range of them. If you want one, let me know. And it went balmy, and I had to reproduce and go and get more made, because more people wanted to buy them, and I was quite stoked about that. It was quite nice. But yeah, so, you know, there's a lot of people walking around with my cap on, which I like. But it is what it is. Branding is needed, but it's not a necessity. If you're a great coach, you'll grow and develop anyway, you know, irrespective. But I think it's good to have it. Yeah.
Right. Oh no! Wow, Robert. It is now 6:15.
Powerhouse, you see, it's power.
So much. Oh my goodness.
You needed power on the show. You needed
absolutely.
We've always got power. What are you talking about?
No, it's been great. Listen, I've watched a couple of the other ones, and I've really enjoyed them, to be honest. So I'm super stoked that you've asked me to be on, and I'm happy I'm the first guy, and maybe I'm opening the doors and paving the way for more people to come on and show what they've got as males. I'm sure we've got loads more successful males you can get on here as well.
Yes, yeah, there is. We just need to hunt them out.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It's like, wow, you've just given us lots of different nuggets to, you know, learn from, to do, and to really just to sit down and observe. And I think sometimes we've got to sit down and reflect and look at our lives and think, you know, where do we want to go? What do we want to do? So thank you so much for sharing all your information. It's been amazing. I've been sat here, I meant to be interviewing you, and I've been sat here and just like,
you know what they say, they're the best interviews, you know. You know, it's meant to be more about the person just talk. When I do my podcast,
Absolutely.
I had a podcast, and when I was on there, when I was interviewing people, the best ones are where you just ask a question and the person just rolls.
Woo.
They're the best, because for listeners, it's more interesting. They don't want to hear the interviewer; they want to hear the guest, don't they?
Absolutely.
So maybe.
All right, then. Thanks for that. Knock yourself out.
Sorry, Karen. Sorry. I did.
You know, lots of really complimentary comments back from the audience. Check through the messages when you get a chance, Robert. But people are saying, you know, thank you. It's been amazing, really inspirational. We've got a message that said it's been wicked again, ladies. So yeah, well done. It's been fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you, and well done, ladies.
Please, thank you. You're welcome, Robert. Please, could you leave your details in the comments so people, if they want to get in touch with you, would that be okay?
No problem at all.
Just
click on my link. I don't know if you've got my name in the link, but if they click on there, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, but I'll put my Instagram link in there as well.
Please.
And if anyone wants to reach out, feel free.
Please. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much, ladies. Have you got anything else what you'd like to add before we close?
No, just again, sorry, Marcy, it's just great to meet Robert again. I've met you in life, in real life, a couple of times, but I've seen you on Facebook and LinkedIn, and just think your story is amazing, and it's just nice to meet a genuine coach who knows what he's on about.
Yeah, and I have to agree. Absolutely have to agree. I was really fascinated, and it was really just like sitting on the edge of your chair, just listening to your story. You know, brilliant.
Yeah,
and very inspirational as well. Yeah, and I'm sure.
Guys, thank you. I'm stoked by that. Thanks, guys, and you guys are inspiration. I love this, what you're doing here, this platform. It's brilliant, and I wish you all the best with it. And keep shining your light and go get more people and build this thing up. I love it. It's got a great feel to it. It reminds me of like Black Loose Women or something. You know what I mean? I like it. Yeah. Do more of it.
Oh, excellent. Oh, thank you so much, Robert. We really appreciate that. Thank you for that. And guys, well, this is it. We're off. So next week we are taking a little break. So we're coming back on the Sunday, the 7th of March, 5 p.m. And I know it's going to be Women's Day. So we're going to have a special treat for you all. And you men as well. A special treat. So we will see you back Sunday, the 7th of March, 5 p.m. See you then. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Robert.